would like to go ahead and call this meeting to order. Council meeting for Monday, October 20th. Can I get a roll call?
Councilmember Kevin Reed.
Present.
Councilmember Alex McCready.
Here.
President Jennifer Harrington.
Here.
Councilmember Jeff Humble.
Here.
Okay. We'll do the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence now. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Any updates from city or the agenda other than the addition of Stone Ridge repaving petition?
Yeah, I will say that that was a late addition that we added here closer to 5 o'clock. We were kind of waiting to see whether we get the repetition. So in case you logged in before, make sure you update your agenda. So that was an addition about around a little bit after 5 or a little bit before 5.
Okay.
But no other changes.
That's item I. Is that right?
We actually added, it's both
I
I
and J.
and J, yeah.
I would move to approve the agenda with the 2 added items from earlier today.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. Public comments. Do we have any public comments? Or do you want to do it after or before? I don't know if we have any public comments. Okay.
So there's none? Okay.
Okay. Then that would be, it's not on the agenda, but we wanted to go ahead and recognize Brian before we got too far into the meeting tonight, because we've got a lot of items on the agenda. So.
Up here, Brian.
I think there's cameras. We wanted to give this plaque and certificate kind of thing to Brian Abishon for his 19 years of dedicated service to Maize Planning Commission.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now that you got more free time.
You'll be missed. Thanks for serving.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you so much. Okay, we'll move on to the consent agenda. There's no. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. We need to include the public or the Maize Community Foundation presentation.
I'll just make a comment before we bring up Chad Clark.
Okay.
When we started the foundation and when we hired Chad to be our interim executive director, one of the things the council said is you want to see regular reports. And that's what today is about. I think I'll ask Chad to go ahead and come up, but I'll say that, there's been some tremendous movement and success, and I think you're going to get to hear a little bit about that today. So Chad Clark is our interim executive director for the Maize Community Foundation.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate it. Seems like a long time ago that I was here. It was a little cooler and spring was coming. Since we've been telling the story about the new foundation in Maize, I want to share with you how people are so appreciative that you as council members had the vision to bring this forth, to bring philanthropy to Maize and retain philanthropy in Maize. And that has been our focus for the last year, 100 days. So in accordance with your request and your support to the foundation to keep the foundation going, I want to say thank you on behalf of the public for what you did, the vision you had to bring this forward. So in accordance to your request, I want to do a report today on the Community Foundation and its first 100 days. It has been a eventful journey, a productive journey, and a light at the end of the tunnel journey to begin with. So to start with, I want to tell you, and I introduced them. May 5th, I stood here and introduced these 9 individuals as the current board. And in your packet, you can see the board members and the committees they have joined to bring forth the responsibilities of what the foundation is going to bring to Maize. They know nothing about community foundations. They all had nonprofit experience, but no community foundation experience. They did have one characteristic all in common. They live in Maize and they want to see Maize thrive. And they saw this as an opportunity for that to happen. So I want to commend that. We have 9. We have a potential for 2 new board members to start in January. We've sent invitations and recruitments out to them. They will let me know in the next 60 days. When you came here and Nick told me what you had done, I made the comment, we had a driver's license because you did all the legal work and the paperwork, but we didn't have a car. And now we have a car, and the board is very excited about their new car, and they're willing to show what this car is about and how we're going to drive and make things better for Maize area. The first 4, I included in your packet all the agendas of the meetings that we've had since we started in May. We concentrated in 3 areas. Training, as I mentioned, nobody really knew what a community foundation was. Public awareness, nobody knew we had one. And education to the public, because the public has no idea what a community foundation. The bottom line is the board now has the philosophy, we do connections, we make relationships, we make development, and that spells sustainability. And that's what came out of those 3 characteristics over the first 4 to 5 meetings that we had. In the training and education portion, the things that we addressed right off in May and June, board member responsibilities, board members' roles, policies and procedures. I just finished, happy to do this, with the Finance Committee. We now will recommend to the board on Monday spending policies, because we now have some money to spend. So we need to have policies for that. We've learned leadership, committee action. As you see, we have 3 committees, executive, financial, and communication. We intend to add next year 2 more committees in gift acceptance and investment committee. Accountability, function of a community foundation to the community of Maize, and then development. In that process, we brought in 3 categories to help train. The first one, I've had a connection, and Nick knows this person. Becky Goss is retiring from the McPherson County Community Foundation. She's been there for 24 years. She was the initial starter of the foundation. So she was right where we are 24 years ago. She is now retired in August with assets totaling $30 million in 24 years. So that's what she had more to say, and the board really reached out to her because she's learned what not to do and what to do. In addition to that, we just attended this past Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Kevin and Tristan attended the National Kansas Association of Community Foundations. And it's the only national convention for community foundations, and it's right here in Wichita. I'm excited to hear what Kevin and Tristan have to say about the convention, but over 300 people attended with 200 different community foundations. Community foundations, the fastest growing portion of foundations across the nation right now. They realize the importance that they bring. I want to thank this point, Legacy Bank made it possible for 2 of our board members to attend as they picked up the registration fee. So we did not have to pay for that. In addition to that, we have submitted a scholarship. One of the things that I'm really stressing to the board is a sustainability to the community, and leadership is critical by the Community Foundation because they will become the collaborator between all areas for the development of Maize. We have submitted a scholarship, the assistance of Daryl Kelly with the Kansas Leadership Center for a scholarship from the Kansas Health Foundation to attend all of the year of 2026, the transformation training system by the leadership. We've submitted Tristan to be that person to attend that, and she'll receive that leadership training. About us, after all that, 6 weeks of the board saying, when are we going to go? When are we going to go? When are we going to go? We came up with, what are we about? What are we going to do? And the mission statement they came up with, the Maize Community Foundation shall enhance the quality of life in the Maize community by promoting philanthropy, supporting local initiatives, and fostering collaboration. So again, the purpose of the foundation and the board realizes we want to be a conduit for things to come together and make it better. And then the vision that they were insisted on and came up with, they are dedicated to create a legacy of generosity that inspires future generations to invest in the well-being and prosperity of the Maize community. So again, the name and the word sustainability is in everything that we're doing, along with philanthropy. Public awareness, things that have happened recently and that are ongoing. We have developed and we have a Facebook page now. We're in the process of website development at this point. I met with Maize Media One, which is in the Career Center. They are producing a 45-second commercial for us so that we can put on the website and use on other locations when I go out to introduce the services of the Community Foundation. Our chamber, thank you to the board and the council. They initiated the Community Foundation as a charitable organization as a free membership to the new Chamber of Commerce. So thank you to the city of Maize for that. There is an organization called Magnanimity, and basically they handle the donations worldwide for corporations across the country. We've already received one donation from that organization, and I'll tell you more about that in a minute. And then also Tristan featured our promo that's going on now in the most recent newsletter in the newsletter from our city. I do want to talk about events that have happened. In your packet, you have a flyer. We just didn't want to develop a logo. We looked at our name, and community is our middle name. So we are reaching out to the community to develop our new logo. So to that point, we don't have anything until we get that. As you can see, the deadline is the 30th of this month. And I'm happy to introduce James Kodlachik from Ideatech. James, you want to stand up? They are the sponsor for the contest. They are supplying the awards, and they are supporting it through their services. And if you win, the best part is 2 months free of internet.
Oh, wow.
So pretty good deal. And I can't art, so I can't win. So thank you. But thank you, James. Appreciate it. And then recently, you may have seen us. We had a booth at the Maize Fall Festival, very well attended. and we promoted and we were in addition with Idea Tech. They helped, we were in conjunction in the booth there, and we promoted the logo contest. And we had quite a few people take, and we feel we will get some people responding to that. In addition to that, most recently, and the most productive thing that we've done so far as a foundation, we participated in the Mr. Norfleet presented by the police department at the Maize South game. We had board members there attending to that. There was $1,900 raised from that in support. From that, we had a person who is interested with a major organization out of Newton who lives here in Maize to buy the remaining bracelets and let kids have them for free, and then make a donation to the foundation as well. So that came from that event as well. And then, as I mentioned, we are a sponsor for our Community Chamber of Commerce annual meeting on December 11th, and we'll introduce the commercial at that time. There's a picture of the Maize Fall Festival, our board members, our banner. Notice there's no logo on it. There will be. We're working on that. And then there's a picture of the Maize South game with the police department, a very successful event and very rewarding. And I heard a lot of great comments about that whole event. It was a very well done. So kudos to the police department and it was amazing. The officer that put together there used to spend a lot of time with my daughter. She was a basketball player, went to school together, kindergarten through, Leah Faber. And when we walked in, I couldn't believe that she was an officer in Maize, Kansas. Okay, so where are we? Infrastructure building. I've said it, and I said it many times, and it's true. We are going about this backwards. Generally, a foundation is started by somebody that says, I have a lot of money, and I want to make Maize better. We don't have that. So we didn't have assets to start with. So we began infrastructure building for our own organization. And to do that, we established a goal of $10,000 in a mini campaign just to get, we don't have a computer, we don't have a logo. Thank you you printed these for us. Thank you for that. So we went and reached out, and I thought, who do you go about infrastructure? So you go to people that know about infrastructure. So I'm happy to report that we have received donations from Evergy. I have Representative Jennifer Marshall here from Evergy, who's here. We want to thank her. And also Black Hills Energy. We have Mr. James Williams here from from Black Hill, who have made major contributions, and we're 75% to our goal just because of these two people right here.
Oh, thank you.
So we're right there. So we can go buy a computer. We can now start putting things online, and that's going to pay for publicity to tell people about and educate. In addition to that, a lot of infrastructure building is done through grant writing. We have put a membership into the nonprofit Go, which is an affiliate of Wichita Community Foundation, and their focus is to write grants. So they are writing grants mainly just for this purpose, for infrastructures. So it is our very sincere hope, and very committed, that we will, by the end of the year, have the $10,000 to have things in the bank on that and go to that. And so go from that. So that's the point on our infrastructure building. And right now that has taken priority over the assets retention. So what's next? Okay, well, we're going to complete the infrastructure building. Community foundation education is critical. People heard about them, but they don't understand them. The basic difference is a nonprofit is a checkbook mentality. You get the money in, you write the check, you go fill the checkbook back up. Community foundation is a savings account. We get the money, retain the money, and spend the money as necessary, but we never run out of money. That's the point. Schedule roundtable discussions. We won't be doing major events and stuff. We feel it's more important to sit one-on-one with board members at a table, and this is what it is. What's your vision for Maize? much like you did for the strategic planning. Introduce asset retention. There's many ways to give to a community foundation. It doesn't have to be cash. Cash is good, cash is well, but property, stocks, trust, crats, everything. We can take those. And we're now learning that how we are going to invest that. Implement multiple fund strategies. Right now we have one fund in mind. It's called the Founders Fund. And that Founders Fund will be strategic for annually. We will give money from that fund. We have a goal to be at the end of the year of 250,000 in that. By next July, our goal is to be at $500,000, where we can fund several strategic projects throughout Maize in July. That's our goal. And then, believe it or not, January 1, I'm submitting an annual budget because we have something to budget on January 1st. So we'll do that. And then, as you well know, I'm temporary. Through May, we begin to have soft discussions on transitions. How are we going to afford somebody to be in a permanent position and run the foundation? And then also begin making plans for a permanent location in Maize so people can see where we're at. So again, I want to thank you for all we've done. I appreciate Nick and Tristan, all the work they've done to put this together. It doesn't seem like a long ways, but when you put it down on paper, there's been a lot accomplished, but we have a lot more to do. So I'm happy to answer any questions at this time, but I do want to say a sincere thank you to Kevin as well, because he spent a lot of 3 days in a hotel cramped up. So I appreciate that. Any questions?
Does the number of board members feel about right now, or are you guys still recruiting?
We would like to be at 11.
Okay.
Just because we have more committees. And I really promised the board, because the first thing they say, well, how much time? Just like you asked, how much time is this going to take? We need at least 4 more committees. And I can't be putting people on the board and in 2 and 3 different committees. So our goal is to have 11 for next year. We are set in our bylaws for 15. But I usually believe if you want to keep 3 or 4 open in case somebody shows up, you don't want to have a full board and a good person get away. So we will stay at 11 probably through 26.
I just want to thank Chad for doing what he's been doing, especially after being at that conference last week. I learned how lucky we are to have a guy like him leading us up. All the mistakes and catastrophic things that new foundations do, we are avoiding those by having somebody that knows what they're doing, guiding us. And I know I want to thank you for slow walking it to the board, because in order to get their buy-in, he has to teach them what it is. And I know you'd much rather go at a faster clip, and maybe we all would, but it's important that it's done the way you've been doing it. So
The goal is just to have everybody on the same page, because we want everybody telling the same story when we go out to the public. And so that's why the policies are so important, that we know what we're doing and we're all on the same page. Any other questions?
Oh, you've been busy. Very busy.
I've spent more time here. I didn't know where the May City building was until May 5th, and I now know where the May City building is here quite a bit. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it. I look forward to seeing you in 2026.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
That will have us
Last
moving
council
on.
member here has to match the rest of the donation that they need for the infrastructure,
Right.
so you can get with Chad and write the check later.
We're moving on to the consent agenda. There were no changes to the consent agenda, so I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. That moves us on to new business. Series 2025B temporary notes.
Good evening, council. So Series 2025B temporary note in the amount of $7,676,800. This is going to cover the projects for Addison Woods, Arc Church, Eagle View Estates 1, Eagle View Estates condos, Stone Ridge, and Skycrest Addition. Bids for the sale of this note will be due on November 24th. The city administrator is authorized to award the sale of a note so as long as the bid does not exceed $9 million and the true interest cost of the note shall not exceed 5.5%. With the city council adopting the ratified note resolution on December 1st. The timing of the sale is due to the holiday weekend. They believe that we'll get a better rate if we go before then. We have bond counsel here, Mitch, and we also have Henry here from Ransom Financials. If you guys have any questions moving forward, I will say that for some of these items, we just have petition amounts and we will have bids in between this time and December 1st. And we can adopt, or not necessarily adopt, we can change those dollars amounts on here to match those bids. So you may see that moving forward. But when we actually have the sale resolution, we'll have the exact number, obviously, on what it is. But that gives us a little bit more flexibility, so we're not having to repetition or repetition items as bids come through later on. That makes sense. If you guys have any questions, like I said, Henry's here, or we're just looking for that approval.
Are the bond interest costs on the rise? That seems like we've been a point or so lower than that on some of the previous ones.
As of late, I usually do the interest rates. I look at the yields pretty much every morning. It seems that they're trending downwards as of late. Like right now, we're estimating a 3.15% interest rate. I could see that get closer to 3 because the 3-year yield today was roughly 2.4%. So I could see it get closer to 3, possibly even lower. But 3 would be a good hope, I would say.
And just going back to these amounts, tonight you guys will see something for Stone Ridge increase. So this increase isn't included on this right here, just so you know. So there's an increase about $17,000 for Stone Ridge if you guys approve those petitions.
Okay.
Just a heads up, just kind of an example of what may be increasing through bids rather than the petition amounts that we have. We do normally like to have the bids, but in this scenario, we have to move forward with that.
Any other discussion? If not, I would entertain a motion.
Madam President, I would move to approve the city administrator to authorize the sale of the notes so long as bid does not exceed $9 million and the true interest cost of the note shall not exceed 5.5%, with the city council adopting the ratifying series 2025B note resolution on December 1st in the estimated amount of $7,676,800.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to move to approve the city administrator to authorize the sale of the note so long as the bid does not exceed 9 million and that the true interest cost of the note shall not exceed 5.5%, with the city council adopting and ratifying Series 2025B note resolution on December 1st in the estimated amount of $7,676,800. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Motion carries. Conspec Inc. agreement with Crander Addition Phase 1 paving improvements.
Good evening. So if you look on page 75 of your packet, you'll get an idea of what we're talking about. Craner Estates is over on the east side of 119th, down near the Maize, Wichita city limits. It's a pretty good sized neighborhood. On October 7th, we received bids for the paving improvements on that area. All the other infrastructure has already been completed. Conspec Inc. submitted the low bid of $819,560.14. That was well below the engineer's estimate of $1,090,754. Bid tabulation is in the packet. This was included in the 2025 project funding plan. The city attorney still needs to approve the agreement as to a form before acceptance. What we're looking for tonight so that we can get moving on the pavement because we're getting towards the end of the season for asphalt construction. Accept the contract from the low bidder and approve the construction agreement with Conspec DBA Kansas. Stand for questions.
Was that the only bid, Joe? I don't see a bid tab in here.
Yeah, I've got to go back and look at the bid sheet. And I don't have it in the packet that I printed off. It reminds me, I think there were multiple bids.
Anybody else have any other questions? I thought the plat was interesting. It has the reserves, but it doesn't look like any of them are gonna be water. Is that right?
I didn't hear the question.
Oh, I said, I noticed on the plat that there was the reserves. It's just an odd shaped.
They got, if you've driven by there, there's quite a bit of area dug out for
Is there?
reserves. It's
So
gonna-
it
there's
will
gonna
be an
water.
actual reserve.
There will be
in there.
water in there, yes.
Okay. That's what I just wanted clarification on whether there would be water in it or not. But
It's really deep.
yeah, because it doesn't look like it's contoured like there is, usually it's not so much.
We had some real challenges when it kept raining, keeping those ponds down to a point where we could get in there and put the clay
Yeah.
liner down there. But
Okay.
we were finally able to, it's finally able to stop raining long enough to be able to get there and do that.
Anybody else have any questions or comments? In reference to the bid? Not, I would entertain a motion.
Madam President, I'd move to accept the contract from the low bidder and approve the construction agreement with Conspec Inc. doing business as Kansas Paving, subject to city attorney's approval, in the amount not to exceed $819,560.14 for street improvements for the Craner Addition Phase 1 neighborhood and authorize the mayor to sign.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second
You're doing good.
to approve and accept the contract from the low bidder, Conspec Inc. for the construction agreement with Conspec Inc. doing business as Kansas Paving, subject to the city attorney approval, in the amount not to exceed $819,560.14 for the street improvements for the Cramer Addition Phase 1 neighborhood and authorize the mayor to sign. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Moves us on to AI paving condition index contract.
Please include the bid tabs next time.
Yes.
Yeah, I would agree.
Please. Yeah.
Hello, council. Good evening. On October 6th, you approved the agreement with KDOT for the grant program for our AI pavement condition assessment and our traffic signal improvements. This contract before you tonight is with PEC, Professional Engineering Consultants, to actually perform the work for the AI pavement condition index. With that pavement condition index, we're going to be getting a street inventory and a pavement condition evaluation for all of our city-owned streets. We'll also get a traffic sign inventory and condition assessment, as well as a pavement marking condition and assessment. All that will be incorporated and integrated into our current GIS system. The contract is for $83,000, of which the city will be responsible for $29,050, and KDOT will cover $53,950. And it will work as a reimbursement process. So we will cover the costs and get reimbursed monthly from KDOT for those. I think I've covered this pretty well lately, but I'd be happy to answer any questions you guys have.
The cost is for 1 year, right?
It's to perform the work, and I would anticipate probably being done in the springtime.
Madam President, I would move to approve the AI pavement condition index contract for $83,000 and authorize the mayor to sign.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the AI payment condition index contract in the amount of $83,000 and authorize the mayor to sign. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries. We have PUD 01-25, Arvada Second Edition Planned Unit Development Amendment to PUD 04.
Good evening, council members. This PUD was created to adjust the required setbacks back when Arvada first came to town before my time. It was October 2nd, the Plan Commission deliberated extensively on how to address the duplex issue. And what they ended up doing was in the guidelines for the PUD 01-025 in paragraph 2C, they struck two-family duplex from the language and passed the rest of it, which was single family for the by the request of the Planning Commission. So that was that for that. The PUD 04 is attached to ordinance 1009. And so what will happen is the new ordinance will amend and repeal 1009. Well, the PUD will be renamed PUD 01-024 to accommodate the fact that Arvada was sold to a new developer. And for record keeping purposes, I separated the two for clarity's sake. Other than that, I'll stand for any questions.
So basically, it's just going from single family to multifamily.
No, that's incorrect. What it's doing is they wanted to, for the southern half of Arvada, they redesigned the plat. So that
right.
comes next. And so what they want to do is they want to put single family there, but in the northern half of the plat, they wanted single or a two-family duplex.
Okay.
And the Planning Commission was not happy with that, with the debates going on with duplexes within the city limits of Maize. They decided to strike that after listening to the citizen comments.
Okay.
So the only adjustment made to the provisions for this PUD was that stricken from paragraph 2C, was
That's
the
it.
two-family duplex.
Okay.
But there will be townhomes
there are townhomes planned for parcel 2. They haven't got those mapped out yet, exactly how they're going to fit those in there. They do have the ability to come back within a year, or in a year, not within a year, but in a year, to reapply to see what their needs can be met by the city. So
You mean after a year, they can come back?
after a year, excuse me.
Yeah. Well,
This
that sounds
is,
good.
this has been approved by the planning commission?
Yes, with the language that two-family be stricken, two-family duplexes be stricken. So no duplexes, as the planning commission recommended for the city council, are to be put in there.
If you look at parcel 2, that was originally scheduled to be, if you see that map, parcel 2 was originally, parcel 3, I'm sorry.
Parcel 3.
I think
Parcel
what-
3 was originally, in their intentions to be duplexes.
It's the northwest half.
What's throwing me off, I think, is, and maybe I'm just not quite understanding, but page 4 of 19 in the packet, it mentions current zoning, basically PUD 04 for single-family residential community. Proposed zoning is PUD 01-025 for single-family and two-family residential community.
That's correct. I made that error without correcting it. So
Okay,
it's being proposed as PUD 0125 for single family, and then the townhomes would be the two-family portion if they decide to go with 2 townhomes, 3 townhomes, or 2 units, 3 units, or 4 units, designed on their design specs that they want to bring forward.
and then at that point, it would have to come back for approval.
After a year, if
Got
they
it.
want to address duplexes in parcel 3.
So the
Parcel 2 is townhomes.
the townhomes with up to 3 families would be approved by this motion. But-
Townhomes are, that's the iffy part. And what I know of is townhomes and duplexes are the same thing in the sense that a townhome can be a 2-family unit. It can also be a 3 or 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But once you get more than 3 or more, that's when the fire code changes. So I know the expenses go up. So the developer has to balance that all out. So that's why they put townhomes in there, so they could, because the lots are smaller, they can try to adjust for that.
So basically, we went from duplexes to townhomes. It's been
Parcel 2.
in parcel 2. Yeah.
Parcel 2 is just townhomes. Parcel 3 was duplexes, and that's what they struck from the provisions was the 2-family duplexes in parcel 3. Sorry for the confusion.
No, you're doing a good job.
Thank you.
Yeah. I still don't know the difference.
It's an interesting case. It really is what they were trying to do. They were trying to accommodate the market as well as the neighborhood being to the south with Creekside Estates being single-family homes. They wanted to align that with single-family homes to the south half. And then the northern half, or the half of the northern half, excuse me, they wanted to make duplexes because the Heights at Maize and then, of course, Fox Creek are all duplexes. They were trying to accommodate that. But the planning commission chose to, after, like I said, after listening to public comments, they decided to strike that language.
So the difference between a duplex and a 2-family townhome is what?
That's a good question. Townhome,
Okay.
it is, because the language overlaps. Townhomes generally are considered 2-story,
Okay.
and townhomes there's not a designated number. They're just 2-family or more, or a duplex is restricted by language to 2-family. And duplexes generally are single-story, generally. Not necessarily the case because in Fox Creek we have 2-story duplexes. Urban Crest, we have 2-story duplexes.
Right.
Now in Mallard Estates and Oasis, we have single-family duplexes. So the language does get confusing there.
But does a townhome have to be 2-story?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Again, it's generally considered a townhome is 2 stories.
Yeah, in general, but
And-
technically,
There's no technical definition.
okay.
I went to research this because I knew these questions were coming, and it was difficult to find a common set of vernacular that could nail all this down. The only thing I come to conclusion was that townhomes can be, duplexes could be townhomes, but townhomes can't be duplexes, if that makes sense, because townhomes can be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 units, 8 units, if you will. You think of row houses in New York City or Philadelphia, things like that, or San Francisco, those townhomes that are large in number that are adjoined, those are townhomes. So
Yeah.
Did this change in zoning have to go through a posting requirement and an appeals option for anybody, or a protest option?
it did.
Was
Yes,
there
it did.
any input received back in that process?
Not during between when it was ruled on by the planning commission and today, there was no opposition. The people that showed up for public comments voiced their concerns and left it at that. And we actually had this in August at planning commission the day before we had the workshop. And both this and another case that were similar in nature were tabled because of the workshop. There was concerns about the fact that we were hoping to get some language out there to deal with duplexes, and that wasn't what the intent of the workshop was. And so I expressed to the planning commission that this is something that we have to rule on now, as opposed to waiting for future language.
I think for me, how long are we going to wait on that future language? So it would be my opinion. I mean, if we're going to a vote, I can tell you that my vote would be no on this. I don't think I understand it well enough, but I also would like to know, like, when are we going to get to that point where we do have some clear direction? Because I know we've been asking for it for a while. So
Well, I almost think changing it from duplex to townhome almost compounds the problem, because then they can put even more.
If I may clarify that's only restricted to parcel
To
2.
that
Parcel 2 is
And then 3,
Not
we're
being-
taking half of 3 away because we're taking out the duplex part of it.
we're taking all the parcel 3 and we're taking the duplexes out of the language. So that, the way I see it, and I haven't spoken to the developer about it, that will sit until they decide what to do with it, what to bring back to planning. commission.
in
So
essence, it sounds to me like we're potentially approving townhomes that we don't really even understand what they're proposing as a
That's
townhome.
tricky.
So
Yes, it is.
to me, it's,
It's
how's a
tricky.
townhome a
Yes.
duplex, or is a
Can I try to
duplex a
help here? So
townhome?
parcel 2 is the area that's already been constructed, so all the infrastructure's in place, so those very narrow, deep lots with the alleys exist. And so the developer's really stuck with what to do with that, because this is a new developer. The developer that started the development brought something to market that is not being accepted well here in the area. So now the new developer, to try to keep the costs in a place where they can build something somebody will buy, they have to build based upon the infrastructure that's there. And that's why they're proposing on those narrow lots to build 2 structures against each other. Because otherwise, they have to go to all the expense of tearing all that infrastructure out that we've got specials expected on that we're going to have to bond next year. And they're just trying to make it profitable in that area alone. The other areas that hadn't had the infrastructure installed yet whatsoever, where they suggested duplexes, the planning commission said no. So
That's
I hope
helpful.
I hope
That is very
that
helpful.
explains why they're talking townhomes and it's just on the northern side, because even on the southern side, they haven't installed the infrastructure down there yet.
My apologies. for
That makes more
being
sense.
Something that I wasn't aware of or wasn't knowledgeable about.
I didn't get that from the picture, but that makes way more sense looking at the picture now too.
This one here.
What is the current market demand situation here for the housing? I know we
My
talk
opinion-
about, single family house versus either duplex or townhomes is basically thinking about density issue, right? So, and also affordability issue. So what is the current kind of market demand there? I mean, according to the developers.
According to developers, duplexes are needed. They're in high demand.
Uh-huh.
The communities are pushing back against that for a variety of reasons. Some of those are myths. They're myths. When they say it's going to affect my property value, it doesn't have a effect on a single family home property value. A duplex, it's apples and oranges. In my opinion, a developer wouldn't put a product out there without doing the market research to sell it. I say that with a caveat that we're dealing with this particular development that the developer did his research, brought a product to market or to town, and it didn't sell. So it's not fast and true that duplexes are the end all be all to the market housing situation. So it's a difficult balance, but I do trust the fact that the developer wouldn't bring a product that they didn't do the research, that they did the research on. And so I do tend to lean more towards trusting the developer in that sense, but also doing our own research and dealing with community pushback with not in my backyard or NIMBYs where they're concerned with higher levels of crime, if you will, transient natures of duplexes and things like that, that again, cannot necessarily be substantiated by fact. They're more gut feeling. There are about 20 to 50,000 unit shortage of housing units in the metro area alone. I don't know what the shortage is in Maize. I don't know if we have a shortage in Maize technically, but I do know within the region we do have a substantial shortage, the developers are just trying to find the market as it currently is and fill that need as it currently is.
So does the sale of this property depend on what we do with this tonight?
No, it's already been sold.
So what
And closed
happens to
on.
the property if we don't? If we say no? What goes on then?
You'll have to revisit this in a year at the minimum.
The planning commission will have to do it first,
Go ahead.
right?
Yeah, so if the sale hadn't gone through, so we contacted the developer about 6 months ago to let him know that we were coming up on the time that we needed to bond it. Because at that point, he hadn't sold any homes. He has since sold 2. So we don't know what the situation will be involving the 2 homeowners that bought into a development that is now changing. But we're going to bond that infrastructure that we have installed in 2026. We have to, because we're going to be at 3.5 years. If the original developer had kept that property and decided to walk away from it, we would become a land bank. And we would suddenly own a bunch of property and become realtors. So the new developer stepping in and attempting to do something with it is good for the city of Maize. The hope is that they're bringing the right products to market. We do know, Nick and I have had these discussions in the office, the starter single family homes that they are going to be building on part of that property is a hot market in Maize, and we can't build them fast enough. So we do know that he's going to at least be able to make a living for himself and potentially turn in a product that people can afford. Roughly a single family home right now is starting at about $2,400 a month. You imagine that on somebody making 50, 60 grand a year, that's a pretty hard payment. But we do believe that at least with this developer coming in and going with the market that he's going with, we have a chance.
That's what I was trying to dig to. Yeah,
And
exactly.
it sounds like they've tried to work with us on the duplex thing. Otherwise,
Yes.
they wouldn't have.
He actually had
Yeah.
brought renditions of, or renderings, if you will, of what it could possibly look like. And that just didn't sway the planning commission. So with the variations of architectural standards and stuff like that for the homes, something similar to what would be at Fox Creek where they're staggered, they're not the same.
Mm-hmm.
So something like that. But again, planning commission did not feel comfortable with the current state of public response to duplexes approving or recommending approval.
But to reiterate, the planning commission did approve this, the way it's laid out with the townhome concept on that parcel too.
Yes, they did recommend city council for sending this to city council for approval.
Parcel 3, right?
Parcel 3 stricken of duplexes.
Yes. Yeah.
So the original developer would have had to put a 30% irrevocable letter of credit on the infrastructure, correct? So now the
35%.
25, so
35%.
So now does the new developer, he's already put that in place? I think the clarification around this was helpful, so appreciate that. I do think, even though it's not the same thing, it does highlight the fact that we really need to get our ducks in a row on how we're going to handle duplexes moving forward, because I think if this was a duplex discussion, it would be my opinion to table it and wait. And that will be my opinion when the next one comes, if we don't have an answer to that question. So I know we've talked about lots of things that we can do with design standards and all these other things. I'm ready to do it.
Yeah,
So
I agree with you. It's something that we can't.
we can't
Put
just
off.
keep, yeah, I mean, as fast as things are happening here, we're just kicking
Yeah.
the can down the road and we'll never get to it. So I know that's probably asking a lot, and I know you guys have a lot going on already, and that's going to involve our involvement as well, but I'm prepared to do that whenever the time's right. So
Well, the
just-
positive note here is that we do have have somebody hired to do our comprehensive plan that is going to help us do some of those things. It's just how quick that happens.
Yeah.
And so,
Appreciate that.
we'll continue to push that as a high priority.
Yeah, we had discussed accelerating some of the items that needed to be at the front of that comprehensive plan, and this is definitely number one on the
We've had
list.
that conversation with them at length and just recently, within the last 3 or 4 weeks, as they kick this comprehensive plan off. And they're kind of at a loss for how to do that at the beginning, because they really need to go through the other steps to get there. And that's when they kind of let us know that we already have the power to say no. And the planning commission is empowered to say no based upon the current plan and what's there. They just haven't really done that yet. But I think you just saw it with Arvada. The planning commission said no. Now, the planning commission's got another one coming up in November that the developers worked with them somewhat, but it's still got some duplexes in it. So we're going to see where that one goes next.
Seems like,
But
at the
some of
very least, we should have a definition of what a townhome is and some guidelines as to what the minimum requirements for a townhome. are.
some of the folks that were here to speak in opposition of the duplexes for the October meeting were not neighbors of Arvada. They were neighbors of the one that's coming in November. So they will probably be back. So it'll be another long planning commission meeting in November.
All right, well, let's finish this up. So, Madam President, I make a motion to approve the one-step final plat of SD 02025, subject to
If I may, sir,
conditions. Huh?
if I may interrupt, it's actually,
It's the one
we're
above.
approving
That's
the
the one.
PUD
Oh, that's
01
the one above?
025.
Okay. Where's that at, Kevin?
Approve the one step.
Oh, okay, the one step. I'm sorry, I clicked down too far.
No, it's,
7D.
sorry, move to pass the ordinance. Yeah,
That's my impression.
Yeah.
D.
We didn't say that, just say no to
D,
Correct.
there. Yeah, okay, so,
that. I just,
move to pass ordinance that amends and repeals ordinance 1009 and amends PUD 04 and authorize the mayor to sign subject to approval by our city attorney. Yeah, it's already approved? Okay.
Do that today.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion
Just
carries.
a general, I mean, I just talked with Jeff. Is that possible there's some kind of miscommunication here? Because I recall my understanding from last workshop, we are not totally opposed to the idea of duplex, because we do realize we need to find a balance between the density, because there's some physical implications there. I think we are opposed, I'm not opposed, we're thinking about a line, we can accept a duplex or townhome or whatever if the design is good, right? And we never mentioned that planning commission should just simply say no to duplex, right? So I just want to bring everyone on the same page so that we can proceed, because at least I feel a little confused. Is what kind of message we send through that workshop? Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, I think that's accurate from my perspective. I just wanted to make sure we're making data-driven decisions.
Yeah, so the planning commission meeting, this item went for 2 hours at the planning commission. And part of that was data-driven. They looked at the available lots that are currently zoned for multifamily in Maize that have not been built on. I think it was somewhere in the neighborhood of, it was over 400, because I think we came up with almost 1,000 residents could be moved into multifamily housing that has not even been built yet. So it was the planning commission's take that they had plenty of inventory for lots to build duplexes on that haven't been built. We didn't need to add to that inventory of lots. And I think that's what they stuck their stake in. Because they saw how many duplex lots have been approved, but haven't even been constructed. And yet we're talking about adding more duplex lots to the
Is there a way
inventory.
for us to get that data as well?
That's
just
the
so
data
that-
he's sending you, is it not?
I'm working on updating that. There was
Okay.
the count I did was very basic,
Arbitrary.
but I think it's pretty accurate.
Okay.
One of the planning commissioners came up with some different data, so we're trying to figure out between me and him what the discrepancy was. So my data involved just simply counting the plats that have been approved and going through and, okay, this is a plat for duplexes. Okay, it's 10 lots times 2. This is all the apartments in town. I called all the apartments in town. There's only 3, and asked them, how many units do you have? And they told me. I counted all the mobile homes for the mobile home parks. We have 3 lots, 2 mobile home parks, 3 lots, a couple hundred mobile homes in each one of those lots. And I built a ratio around those. Now, granted, it was me counting, so there's probably going to be a couple errors in there, but I stand by my numbers as being pretty accurate. And I wanted to update those before I brought them back to council. So I didn't get a chance to get those completely updated.
I think that would be helpful for us as well.
I think the data is one thing. We've also talked about having design standards in place too, so that if we're going to get duplexes, which I don't think duplexes are an inherently bad thing. I really don't. I just want to make sure that we're making good decisions with all of these developments that are going in.
I would agree. There's comments that have been made. One comment in particular referring to them as army barracks, some in town. And I get that. And that's because there's a repetitiveness to the design of that particular development. And there was no imagination, if you will, or no flexibility involved at all. In my opinion, this is strictly my opinion, it's disappointing that they were built the way they were without consideration to green space or variability within the design. I understand council and commission both want to see that to happen in the future. I think planning commission was uncomfortable making that decision with what had been presented to them in light of the developments to the south, the development to the west, and also with the neighborhood residents that had came to speak that evening. So they felt an enormous amount of pressure to make a decision, and they decided to move forward with the development as long as they could strike that language from the 2-family duplex until we got something standardized as far as whether it be a ratio per development, whether it be a ratio citywide, or something to that effect.
Wasn't the duplex going to be on the council retreat on the 30th?
We're not going to go into great detail on that just because we're still early in this entire process, and we weren't planning on sitting down and talking about that topic particularly, but I think we'll continue to work with and see exactly what best practices we might be able to implement within our current regulations that we've got. But certainly, we could look to tweak some of our current regulations now before we do the full, go into the full comprehensive plan, start looking at planning opportunities. Certainly, we can look to see what might be out there and do some things temporarily till we get to that point. But that was not a topic that we plan to discuss at the retreat.
Well, it's rapidly coming to the top there. And that would probably help Planning Commission and us if we could kind of get that rounded up.
I'm not putting anybody on the spot here because I know everybody's got a lot on their plate, and this is another thing. But would it be reasonable to here in a couple weeks to at least have a timeline that we could shoot for on having something resolved around this? Not that it would be resolved in 2 weeks, but at least know what it's going to look like.
Sure.
If we're gonna-
We'll sit down and talk with the consultant that's doing our comprehensive plan. We'll talk internally, and we'll reach out because the same discussion's happening, I know, in another community tonight regarding duplexes and what's the appropriate mix of duplexes to single family. We're not the only community dealing with this. So we'll try to reach out and see what other communities are doing, and we'll try to get a pulse of what's being considered around the area to bring some sort of recommendation of what we can do on a more temporary basis till we've taken a comprehensive view of the entire comprehensive plan and our zoning regulations, which is one of the things in that initial meeting we talked about wanting to have our own set of zoning regulations long term. But what I'm hearing today is that you want us to address that sooner rather than later, to at least address design standards and mix of housing.
I think we're gonna have to in order to support our planning commission.
And we also need to look at plugging some zoning gaps as well. That needs immediate attention. Even if it's short term until we get comprehensive plan. Yeah.
Updated. That moves us on to item E, SD 02-25, one-step final plat for Arvada second edition.
This essentially is the new plat for Arvada. They changed a few things as far as they're leaving parcel 1 and parcel 2 as it's developed with infrastructure. Parcel 3, of course, and parcel 4 will be developed as time progresses. This essentially follows the PUD because zoning comes before platting. If they can't get the zoning they want, there's no sense in applying for a plat. But they wanted to push this through as best they could. I agreed that we should be able to do this, and so I'm bringing forth this one-step final plat. And let's see. I believe that's it. I'll stand for any questions regarding this topic.
Any questions? If not, I would
So the
entertain
main
a
reason
motion.
for the change request?
They redesigned some of the lot sizes. If you look down there at for example, for the predominant lot area for parcel 4, it's 5,000 square feet. Well, they made that because it's single family residential in parcel 4, and the minimum lot size for that is 5,000 square feet. So they've adjusted the PUD to adjust to accommodate the units they want to put in there it's different from what exists now regarding the smaller setbacks, smaller lot sizes, and things of those nature.
Any additional discussion or questions?
I guess I'm still not sure I understand what's going on with this item.
So the reality of it is, if you look at the houses that are in Arvada right now, they're very narrow houses, very deep lots.
Correct.
If you're gonna, what I think the understanding was, the developer wants to look at more the model that we have for these starter homes. So you're gonna have to modify and change the size of those lots instead of following the model that clearly didn't work. They're having to redesign
Redesign the lot size.
the lot sizes
layout.
to meet a more traditional model of how you're gonna set up these lots for houses, for starter houses.
More Midwestern traditional feel.
Instead of having the narrow, long lots with the drives behind, they're gonna go back to more traditional model that we're used to seeing here. And so that's one of the reasons for the plot.
So in parcel 4, this says 116 lots. Is that? Do I have that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Is that going to look like barracks?
No.
Okay.
The developer does have a distinct product that he touts as being able to build at a cheaper cost than his competitors, but still have a good high quality. But he has to build so many of them, obviously, so far to build a profit or make a profit. So I don't know what those numbers are. That's the way it's explained to me. So there's a variability involved in his product as well for the single family homes. And that's what he's carrying over into parcel 4, is he's carrying forth that mentality, if you will, of design.
It's kind of a messed up deal.
I'm not sure I understand all of it, to be honest.
Some questions I may answer for you?
Well, I mean, we just talked about the other phase of this.
Yes.
And we talked about how we were gonna have to fit townhomes into the lot sizes because the developer couldn't go back and it would be too costly to change lot sizes. And then we get this one and it's like, hey, let's change some lot sizes to accommodate different size houses.
If I may be clear on that, parcel 2 and parcel 1 have the infrastructure already in place.
So the
Parcel
streets,
3.
the streets, sewers, sanitary sewers are in there. So you have to have some sort of model that will fit that currently if you're no longer going to follow
Yeah,
this narrow.
I get that. But
Parcel 3 and 4 are open to design. So what he's done is
Didn't
he's
do anything yet.
trying to accommodate the way the plat was laid out initially. He's just flexing a little bit here and there, trying to make some changes so he can accommodate his model houses, which is what I would consider more of a Midwestern single-family home style that we're accustomed to here in this region. That's why the lot.
And this same
changed in
developer,
size.
if you want to see kind of the model, you look at,
He's Liberty Homes and Artistic Builders. He does.
so you go to where the mayor's house is. Yeah, that Oakmont is Liberty Homes. That's doing that. So the setup would be, as I understand, the setup's much more close to what you'll see as far as how you lay out the lots in the sections that are more to the west.
So from your professional point of view, what is the difference of this proposed change compared with the previous one?
There's not so much an opinion there. He's
Yeah.
changed the size. Are you asking about the developments itself?
I
Or are you
mean,
talking about the size of the lots?
I'm kind of lost here, but
Okay.
I'm just thinking, but because you are applying for some change, the
Yes.
design. So I'm trying to make sense is whatever he proposed here,
Mhm.
how different is from the original plan? And then from your professional opinion, do you think it's better, no, or it's kind of indifferent? Or you say, if you feel this is kind of market driven, whatever you change, you're fine. I mean, I'm kind of lost here.
I would say his,
Basically, as I said, why he wants to change and what kind of the change will bring to the city, and then for the city staff to, from the management point of view, do you think this is good or no, or just simply indifferent? Then I may just ask, why should we approve this?
I think it's good. He's
Okay.
bringing a product to the forefront for the city that can accommodate those people that want to buy starter single-family homes, starter-style single-family homes. It's a lower price point. Not everybody can afford to live in, as you well know, not everybody can afford to live in urban, or not Urban Crest, but Henwick or the Coves. This is a less expensive of a product, and there'll be more of it in an area where duplexes already exist on the north and the south, but it's being the neighborhood is being listened to with Creekside Estates, which is single family housing. He's trying to hear them as well as also across the street with Craner. He's trying to listen to those people that will be living there and do live in Creekside Estates and provide a product that can be successful. He's well successful in the community and the region. So with his market analysis, I tend to lean more towards his professional opinions.
Okay, so basically, thinking about the layman's language, it's basically whatever change he proposed will bring down the house price, will be more affordable to the starters. Is that correct? Or
Yeah.
have any point?
In a sense, yes.
Okay.
In a sense, yes, that is correct.
And why does this need our approval?
Plats,
Changing the plat.
final plats go to city council.
Okay, fine. Okay. No, okay.
So is it adding more lots or taking away lots in the
Changing the
replat?
lots.
It's going to be a
It's
little
just
combination
changing-
of both. It's going to be
changing
making
the size.
it's probably going to be looking to, doesn't it make less deep lots, but wider lots to be able to
I
handle?
guess we don't know until we get the new
Right.
plat.
Wider lots, deeper, not as deep a lots.
Mhm.
They're not as narrow where they're accommodating a lot of houses, very shallow setbacks on the sides along the street. The setbacks in Arvada originally were very, very short.
Oh, yeah.
And I wasn't here when that product was brought to bear. But I've gone over there several times to look and try to figure out why it won't sell. Just in my own professional opinion and curiosity. I wish it would have been a success for the developer. Unfortunately, it's not. So the developer that bought it has seen success in other areas with his product in this region. And so that's what he's trying to bring more of here to assist in the housing situation.
Okay, then from city's perspective,
Mhm.
whatever this change, does that increase our cost, or we are kind of the same? It doesn't affect any kind of green space, or does not lower any of the standards we set as a city, and
I
it
would
doesn't
say
cost us more time.
I would say that's correct.
Okay.
So they're still gonna have to pay for all of the investment and everything that's gonna happen in this. It just is setting it up for success to have more of the starter home type makeup rather than the current format that exists and what you would see and what's been built in Arvada to this point. So it's gonna allow it to be more of those types of lots with the way they're reformatting the layout of the property.
This is no doubt a difficult case, both of
Okay.
these, both the PUD and the subdivision case. It's not as if the same developer came in and said, you know what, I'd kind of like to change the plat around.
Uh-huh.
Let's shift this and move this here and do that. This is something that is not necessarily the norm where a developer failed. His market research let him down. I hesitate to use the term failed, but it didn't succeed the way it was designed. He thought best, instead of letting the city stay on the hook, he sold it And the new developer is just trying to make it succeed. He's doing the best he can, so.
I think for me, I would say as long as it does not increase city's risk, as long as it does not bring down any of the professional criteria of a community, and then also kind of, consider the market and also the affordability issue, I'm okay with that.
All right, I guess we'll just try to salvage this one here. So, Madam President, I'll make a motion to approve the one-step final plat of SD 02025, subject to conditions and modifications as here for agreement upon and listed.
We have a motion and a second to approve the one-step final replat of SD 02025, subject to the conditions and modifications as heretofore agreed upon and listed. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. That moves us on to F. Here we go with Z0325 with PO 01025, Reserve G at Woodard Addition, Henwick.
This case was brought by Russell Holding Company and Boffin Company, where the representative stepped out. I don't know if he's gone for the evening or if he's coming back in. It was Chris Rose. What it is, there's a reserve over there in Woodard Addition, or Henwick is the marketable name. It's on the northeast portion of the development. He reshaped it with a lot split in a lot merger, and then wanted to rezone it from SF5 to office warehouse. I was uncomfortable bringing office warehouse full bear to the planning commission and to the council. So we sat down and agreed upon a few uses that would be allowable if that is to be sold or used for a different purpose, hence the protective overlay. Some of those include government services, parks and recreation, safety service, utility minor, monument sales, office general, warehouse storage, which is what he's intending to use it for. He's using it for supplies for his developments, building supplies, research services, storage outdoor, and agriculture. So essentially, it's an awkward piece of land butted up against the railroad tracks. So he's just wanting to try to accommodate his supply chain issues, I guess, by storing equipment there, storage of supplies and equipment for building. And then he can revert it to something else if needed. Believe one of those is possible garage condos or something to that effect, something that he can make marketable.
Was notice sent to the residents that have those?
Excuse me?
Are those lots that back up to it already housed? Houses
They
built on them?
been built on, but that was after the split. Yeah. Yes,
Okay, were they given notice that he
Yes,
was wanting to
everybody-
change? Okay,
that's correct. Everybody was given notice.
okay, and no
No
comments,
no
complaints,
comments from
no
anybody.
calls? Okay. That would be my only concern, is having built a new house in that neighborhood and then have a parcel of land right behind your house.
Green space.
Change it, yeah, changing into, but it might give you a buffer between you and the railroad.
Right.
Eventually, I guess, I just wanted to make sure notice had been given. And if there was any comment. Any other questions or?
Well, a lot of times in these development, green space is kind of precious, right? And now we're considering,
Taking some away.
taking some away. I'm not a big fan of that
Neither am
necessarily.
I, sir. I'm a huge proponent of green space. But in this instance, there is a large amount of green space within this development. There's the reserves that exist, and this particular reserve's not incredibly large. And I thought that it would be accommodating to the developer to make this, to recommend this as being okay.
What is monument sales?
You're looking at like
Headstones.
gravestones, things like that.
That's
Yeah.
what I thought, but it was like,
It's
Yeah.
something that's listed in the zoning code. And I went through and I said, this one's absolutely off the list. And one of those that was on the list was the cell tower, which you'll be presented with in about a month. I was like, there's no way the council or the commission will approve a cell tower of any significant height in this area. Let's scratch it off of there. And so we did. And these ones we listed, we thought best that could accommodate for a protective overlay. And we could restrict it even further if you'd like to.
yeah, I just was making sure that it was what I thought it was.
So this would require new access onto 45th Street, correct?
Mhm.
Is
Yeah,
the city okay
yes.
with that?
I'm sorry.
Is the city okay with that, especially in close vicinity to railroad tracks?
And the school,
Having an entrance exit on 45th Street?
Yes,
as it comes off the bridge?
it's on the west side of the railroad tracks. So
Right.
they assured me that it was okay. They said they
It doesn't have the same blind
blind spot. Yeah.
current blind concerns we have once you go to the east of the road, east of the
Yeah.
bridge.
With the trees there.
That becomes a major issue right
Yeah,
there.
it's kind of open on that side at least. It is close to proximity to the school there too, though, is in the neighborhood right there, but as long as they can get an approach that,
And there's also limited access to it from the development as well too. So it's kind of it's not one of those pieces that is central within the development as well. So
Right there up against the edge of 45th Street. So.
We got 45th deemed to go 3 lanes, right? Eventually here and all that improved.
well, the original concept showed it being at least 3 lane, 3 or 4 lane.
Minimum. Okay.
And I don't think this property's use should challenge that at all. It's still, the right of way is still there. And I think, as I understand, there's adequate right of way to be able to go to a 3 lane.
We would review whatever they propose for their entrance.
okay,
Do an agreement that we're going to go back.
okay.
You said no objections from the landowners, correct?
No, I
Okay.
have not heard any responses, and I don't believe the city clerk received any mail or responses as well.
Madam President, I would move to pass the ordinance for Z-03-025 zone change from single-family residential to OW, office warehouse with protective overlay, PO-01-025, and authorize the mayor to sign subject ordinance.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to pass the ordinance for Z03-025 zone change from an SF5 single-family residential to an OW office warehouse with a protective overlay, PO-01-025, and authorize the mayor to sign subject to the ordinance. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Is this where they have all that dirt stacked up that they've been hauling out on the 45th? I'm sure you appreciate them dumping all that over your freshly topped road.
They're in the railroad right away where they've got that, they're going in and out.
Right, right.
Code enforcement and I are going to have a discussion with the developer about making sure that maintains a clean appearance as well. So we're in the home stretch.
That moves us on to G, wireless communication master plan ordinance.
This is something that you've been presented with before. I believe I sent an email out to the entire council as well as the commission. We were pressed by a company to put a tower in an SF5. And when I did the research trying to find out if this was even doable, I found out that we had a document that we referenced in our zoning code that didn't exist or wasn't approved by the city. And it's the Wichita Metropolitan Area Planning Department's wireless communication plan. It's a regional document, and adopting the ordinance would essentially have us playing in the same field as our area neighbors for consistency. So that's why this is being brought forth. Planning Commission approved it October 2nd, and that's why it's being brought to you as an ordinance this evening. And again, I'll stand for any questions concerning it.
From staff's perspective, you guys feel pretty good about this without modifying it?
Actually, I do. I read it at length, and I read it numerous times. There's a few spots in it that don't necessarily apply to us. For instance, new ground mounted facilities up to 150 feet in height in the industrial park, central business district, limited industrial, general district, and Air Force Base zoning districts. I mean, things like that don't apply to us. But the language in total does a good job for us.
But I'd say that if you look at some of the height restrictions and the limitations on the certain types of uses, I think they're very reasonable. And we'll be take a stringent look at what size towers could go in certain areas based upon that. I think the areas, the definitions they've come placed upon the sizes and the heights of those towers, it seems pretty reasonable.
It gives us a framework to work with as far as.
There's nothing to say that we can't adjust this in the future if we so choose, but this gets something in there, and I think it's very reasonable for us, just as it is for Wichita, Sedgwick County, at least for the time being, to get something in place.
Madam President, I would move to pass the ordinance for the wireless communication master plan and authorize the mayor to sign subject ordinance.
We have a motion and a second to pass the ordinance for the wireless communication master plan and authorize the mayor to sign the subject ordinance. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
I just have a general suggestion for those items. I do appreciate you put the background, financial consideration, legal consideration, and you put your recommendation. I fully trust your professional judgment, but it will be super helpful if you can either below that or above the recommendation, just leave some kind of justification and your professional kind of concerns, what you kind of went through your head when you make this recommendation. So that, because sometimes those things is really not in our field. So I can see your professional opinion saying, this is the reason I said I recommend this way. I also have the concerns, but all the pros already outweigh the concerns. So then will be.
I can absolutely do that.
Yeah, thank you.
I can make that adjustment.
Yeah, thank you. No, I mean just for in general, because there are some kind of difficult cases. I just feel, I don't know. I said I want to trust your professional judgment when you make the recommendation, but I know since we have this kind of conversation, I know there's certain steps you go through, right? So you also say, oh, okay, this is good, but I also have concerns. But overall, I think this is good move, and it will help us to make the decision as well. I don't know about others.
Touching on that, that's one of the reasons I brought all these cases this evening to business as opposed to being on consent. First of all of them except the last one are ordinances, and the plats, not ordinances, but they're ordinances. And with the touchy subject of duplexes, I felt it necessary to bring it to your attention.
Yeah, I do appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you for all the hard work. And I hope this won't increase any burden, because I think, because when you make the recommendation, already been going through those things. Just want to be a little bit explicit so that it will help us.
Absolutely.
Thank
I think those steps would also help us know the progression that the city's already taken to get to some of those judgment calls that we're needing to make. That makes it helpful because we depend a lot on you guys being able to articulate it right in front of us. And sometimes it's easier just to kind of put the steps out in front of us. That helps us with the memos that we get on everything, to have those steps that you guys have already gone through. It's helpful. That moves us on to a nomination of Kara Weens to the vacant position of the City of Maize Planning Commission.
Ms. Carol Weens is a resident of Maize and has been one almost lifelong. She's a registered nurse and works for Wichita State University. They've got a nursing program at Essentia Via Christi School. She's an educator there. As a matter of fact, one of our police department employees was one of her students, and she's excited to, be involved. The mayor actually vetted her. He sat down with her and spoke with her at length for about, I believe, 30 minutes. And she's very excited to serve if you accept her nomination on the commission, and hopes to do her best as possible.
She also attended one of the sales tax meetings, and that's how we originally got to meet her. So and she expressed some interest at that time. So now that we have an opening, it's timely.
Madam, I would like to make a motion to approve the appointment of Carol Weens for the vacant position on the City of Maize Planning Commission.
Second.
We have a motion and 2 seconds to accept the nomination of Kara Weens for the vacant position of the City of Maize Planning Commission. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. That moves us on to the additions to the agenda, the Stone Ridge Addition repaving repetition.
Okay. As you're aware, back in June, the city council approved a petition on behalf of the residents of Hidden Acres Drive, also known as Stone Ridge, the Stone Ridge Addition, to pave their gravel road on the street. The petition was valid based upon the engineering estimates at the time. Unfortunately, on Wednesday, we opened bids, and those bids exceeded what the engineer's estimate was and what the petition amount showed. As a result, we moved pretty quickly. We started talking with the neighborhood. As you'll remember, this is not 100% approval on this petition. It was, but it did meet the 51% requirement for development. And we had a lot of discussions when we put the petition together to begin with. So we had to talk with the neighborhood. Actually spent the weekend texting between neighbors and things of that nature to try to get an updated repetition. And I was given that at about 5 p.m. today. So one of the reasons moving forward with this is fairly quickly is important because of the same reasons Joe mentioned. We're kind of on a time frame. If they're interested in getting this done this year, it really has to happen before it hits certain temperatures, because they won't be able to keep the plant open, the asphalt plant, to be able to do this project. So at this point, we did receive we received 3 bids for this particular project, which I'll actually ask you to approve the bid at the next item. But the amount was $227,000 for the total construction, which exceeded what was in the engineer's estimate for $213,824. The adjusted amount for the petition, we had to adjust the amount for the total petition to $270,92 over the $253,000 that was in the original petition. So as I mentioned, we did receive this. As you remember, this is a project that the city agreed to put $53,000, which was to get them close to where they wanted to be as far as specials, and with the thought process that there are very few things that we have offered this particular development, because they don't have access to water and sewer. So we felt some contribution with what they're paying in tax amounts made a lot of sense. And so that's just to rehash that. At this point, the petition was prepared based upon the modified bids that came in. And we've worked with the bond attorney to give us work up the resolution of advisability that's attached. We make the recommendation at this point to move forward in accepting the petition and approving the resolution of advisability for this particular project. This will be the first step. If you approve this, then we'd ask you to approve the bids. And the next item. Any questions? I'll ask you to approve the bids in the next one, but you should have the bids attached in the next item. So if you want to see those. Had bids from Pearson, APAC of Kansas, and Kansas Paving, Pearson, Kansas Paving, and APAC of Kansas.
The alternates then were not accepted?
So the alternate was to do a smaller cul-de-sac. So if you look at that, if you drive down that street, you see it's got a very big cul-de-sac. It's one of the discussions I had with the neighborhood. They felt if we were going to spend the money, instead of trying to do a smaller one with gravel around the edge that would get onto the pavement surface, they felt we kind of put that together because if we had to go that route, we could have shrunk the size of the cul-de-sac and made it more traditional, what you see in a neighborhood. But I think the feeling that I got from discussions this weekend is that they wanted to stick with the wider radius cul-de-sac, and that's what I heard from the neighborhood as a whole. In fact, everybody chimed in. Those that supported this project chimed in and said it's better just to keep it as it is. We tried to do that as an option in case the bids came in too high, but in reality, even to do the alternate would have exceeded our petition amount. So we did present to them what we believe the specials will be based upon estimates of financings, and presented that to them so they know, because this project's going to cost a little bit more, that their specials would go up. And we did put down some options as to what we truly believe those specials to be.
Madam President, I would make a motion to accept the repetition for paving improvements at Stonebridge Estates Edition for the total amount of $270,092. And number two, to adopt the modified resolution of advisability for Stonebridge Estates Edition paving improvements.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to accept the repetition for paving improvements to the Stone Ridge Estates addition in the total amount of $270,092, and to adopt the modified resolution of advisability for Stone Ridge Estates addition and paving improvements. All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. That moves us on to the Stone Ridge paving improvements.
As I mentioned, we did open bids for this on Wednesday of last week, and we received 3 bids, with Pearson being the lowest, both as the regular, as the full, doing the full cul-de-sac and the full paving project, and as the bid alternate of the 3, with the other 2 being APAC of Kansas and Kansas Paving. At this point, in conversations with Garver, and after talking to the neighborhood, we make the recommendation that you go ahead and accept the bid for the full paving. That includes the full cul-de-sac with Pearson.
Madam President, I would move to accept the low main bid from Pearson Construction, subject to the city attorney's approval of the construction agreement, in an amount not to exceed $227,492 for street improvements for the Stone Ridge neighborhood, and authorize the mayor to sign.
Second.
Okay, it was, oh, gotcha. I got it right. Motion and a second. Who seconded? Was it?
Oh, I seconded, but I thought you did
Yeah.
first.
It was me that
Yeah,
made the motion.
Okay.
We have a motion and a second to accept the low main bid from Pearson Construction, subject to the city attorney's approval of the construction agreement in amount not to exceed $227,492 for the street improvements for the Stone Ridge neighborhood and authorize the mayor to sign. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Moves us on to reports. Is there anyone?
Any leads on what you guys sent out today?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Any leads on the people breaking into vehicles today? That you can.
We don't
that
have
you can say?
anyone identified yet. We've been working on it most of the day. In fact, while we're sitting here, we got the second car located in Wichita, and we're recovering that. So there potential evidence, but we're continuing to work on that.
Appreciate it very much. No tolerance for that.
I do notice we do have the crash report is, the year-to-date comparison, we more than last year, and also I kind of have the impression I tend to see more accident recently. I'm just wondering, is there anything that our police department noticed? Anything going on? Why?
Well, it's pretty
All of a sudden
significant.
have-
It's a significant increase. When I was looking at it today, it's about a 38% increase. What is driving that? We have not dug into that. We certainly can.
We are going to present at the workshop,
Okay.
when we look at some of the traffic data, we're also going to have accident data at intersections. So you're going to be able to see a little bit, not necessarily comparative to past years, but you're going to be able to see where some of the accidents are occurring as far as intersections go. So, but you also got to remember that they're responding to accidents in Wichita too. So along Maize Road. So it's not uncommon to see us respond out there as well.
That is true. We do determine in crash data what the presumptive reasons for, and so if it's helpful, I can look into that and maybe in preparation of that, make sure there's some kind of subline that lets you know if there's anything that we're seeing as an anomaly or something that's driving the change.
So does that data have the age of the person? Because, if you got a high school and you got a lot of kids, is that?
In the data per crash, what's collected and reported to the state. Now, one of the things that I will say in terms of crash reports, there's two. If it's over a certain dollar amount, it's reported to the state. All those demographics are collected so that the state can keep track of it. It drives a lot of that. And then we also will document anything that's lower. So yes, to answer your question, we will have age data available. The one thing, and I'll have to talk to the chief, is I'm assuming that this is our total crash reports, what's included to the state, as well as other driving. And why I bring that up and differentiate it is a crash report could be a private property accident at Dillon's where we make a report for a car bumping into another one where it's not going to be reportable to the state. So a little bit of just clarification on that could be helpful. But we can certainly jump into that.
Yeah, if it's seasonal,
Right.
schools in session,
Mhm.
stuff like that. That'd be helpful.
Absolutely.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
We'll move on to Public Works.
Hello again, council. The only thing I'd add to my report is you might have saw on Facebook or in the news today about a gas leak at 45th and Tyler. The contractor working on infrastructure for the Addis Woods addition obviously inadvertently hit a gas main while they were working on the sewer. So by late afternoon, they had at least gotten the leak isolated and were able to open up traffic and move on, let the contractor move on down the road. So other than that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you guys have.
So I think the lights on Academy, when they go off in the morning, they go off at different times.
We can look at the timing on that, but
Right.
each, it's
Right.
separated into thirds, and each of them probably are on a different timer.
I know the time change is coming, so
Does it seem like it's minutes or longer than
it's
well,
more-
maybe what it should be?
If it's minutes, yeah, I wouldn't holler at you, Nick. So it's a little bit longer than that.
We'll look at
It
it.
seems like the center section is on and the end ones are off.
Okay.
If that helps.
Okay, we'll look at it and make sure
Yeah,
everything's.
no, I'm not sitting there watching it. Okay, yeah, but yeah, so it is some substantial difference.
Okay.
But then again, the time change is coming, and it is getting still dark in the morning also. So you might have just all that. Yeah.
We'll look at it anyway.
Any other questions or comments
Thank you.
for Public Works? Moving on to planning and
Pretty easy,
zoning.
Good evening, council members again. The only thing I'd like to add is the Eagle View Estates Z04025 and the same corresponding effort that happened this evening with zoning in the plat will be brought to Planning Commission's calendar in November. This is the one that they were considering duplexes. I asked the agent to keep me updated to any possible changes that may influence the Planning Commission or the City Council's decisions. They said they're open to single-family homes in this newer part of the development. So they're just trying to make things work. So they're aware of our concerns and are trying to adapt. Floodplain issues, as a floodplain administrator, I noted on there that FEMA's NFIP program, which is National Flood Insurance Program, has lapsed. And it cannot issue new or renew flood insurance policies until the program's reauthorized. Now, that's the federal program. Private flood insurance is still available to people. It's just private flood insurance. So they'll honor policies that exist until they expire. Then they're giving a 30-day extension to find private insurance if they so choose. So other than that, I'll stand for any questions. I'd like to say thank you for your patience this evening too. I appreciate
I
that.
appreciate it.
Hey, I do have one question. It's an easy one, I think. So the section of ground where the concrete company bought north of 53rd,
Mhm.
is that, part of that's in floodplain, is it not?
That's correct, it is.
Okay. Are they just, maybe you don't even know, are they planning to build that up to offset that or just live with it or?
From what I'm aware of, if they were to make any changes to the floodplain, they'd have to notify us. So.
We haven't seen any plans at all for that
Plans.
development. All we know that it's the property sold.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Moves us on to legal. Tom, did you have anything tonight?
No, I don't.
Okay. On to operations.
Good evening, council. Attached in your reports are your cash and budget position, year-to-date treasurer's report, and third quarter revenue report. This time around, I added transient guest tax, so that's the last graph in there, which is a positive if you look at them. All of them are pretty positive. We're all trending upwards in the majority of our revenues and to the third quarter, so that's a great thing. Additionally to that, I did, I know we've been talking about budget amendments. I just wanted to let you guys know that will for sure be coming to you guys November 3rd for the Academy Arts District sign. And then also, just a little note that I wanted to let you guys know is, I'm not sure if I talked to you guys about this before, but we're currently moving for our third-party credit card vendor. Right now, we have Global Payments. We're moving to Tyler Payments after waiting 8 long weeks for our merchant board application to go through. We're finally made process and it's going through. And so we will make that change here moving forward. On the court side and for permits, we are going to pass that cost for the credit card onto the consumer completely, which is a change. Right now, all of our credit card fees are 3%, 3%. We're losing money right now. So courts is going to be 4.32, permits is going to be 4.32. Currently, we're going to keep utilities at 3 and 3 until we can get a better system to sign up, let residents sign up ACH. If you guys aren't signed up for ACH and using your credit card for your water bill, make sure to get signed up ACH because you are paying a 3% fee right now that you could be avoiding. So additionally, we're also going to make a push to go to paperless billing as well because we lose lots of money in postage. I know that's part of it, but if we can get more people to move to paperless billing, that would be great for the citizens of Maize and
I
our
thought
water.
that's what we were already.
We are not. No, we are not that. So we send out lots of paper bills, and so there's lots of time consumed in that as well. So hopefully we can, get an incentive going here towards the end of the year to get people to move to paperless billing and possibly, see what that looks like towards the end of next year and the middle of next year. So, and with that, I will stand for any questions.
So being as we promote paperless billing, do we have in our newsletter, is there something in there that?
So we do have something in the works to send out with our November billing, the push and incentive, and then to incentivize it on social media as well.
I just wanted to say that I really appreciate your revenue reports that you have, the graphs and everything. That's just super helpful and really easy and quick to look at. So thank you for that.
Yeah, they are nice.
Just following up on that, I do have a question on page 3 about the year-to-date sales and use tax. So which means 2024, the actual is lower than the budget?
Yeah,
A little bit, just a little bit, right?
Yeah, so we haven't
okay.
received all of our sales tax yet. And actually, we did receive a portion in September, but so we get those distributions from the state at the end of the month. And so we received, so it comes in 2 different parts. It comes in sales tax and compensation tax. And I received the compensation tax as of the 30th and then the sales tax as of like the 2nd or 3rd. So actually the sales tax portion is not in this report because it's quarterly. So you don't even see the full 3rd quarter sales tax portion because we did not get that ACH in our bank account until like October 3rd. So
that actually related to my next question. Is that possible we can separate the sales and use tax? So yeah, I just want to take a look at that.
Yeah, so when it comes into our actual, we have one revenue line for both of them. So maybe possibly looking at starting at the first of the year, and I can actually split out the revenue lines and create a new revenue line in our system. If you don't mind, if we could start that at the first of the year.
Just want
just to complete the year as we've already done it, basically just to keep consistency and then moving forward as the first of the year, we can definitely do that. I can pull those reports individually and get them from you, get them to you in an email if you would like. All of you guys, if you would like, we get the distributions broken out from the state. So if you would like, I can send that in a group to the council.
And in the last year, I'm saying is now we have our own sales tax, but also from the countywide 1%. Are we good on that? Are we? Yeah, yes. I'm tasked to make some kind of proposal, thinking some alternative formula on that. I just want to have a good understanding, our current standing of Maize on those formula, on the current formula.
And when we receive them, yeah, we could definitely sit down together, you and I, and go over that
Sure.
more in detail.
I need to work on that starting in November. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, let me hit on some of the, if you're okay, I'll go forward with the operations report and hit on some of the highlights of this. Raftellus rate study review, as you know, last council meeting, they presented their findings to you. We really would have hoped to have it by today, but we think we'll be able to have a multi-year rate ordinance to you guys by the November 3rd meeting, and we'll bring it to you for approval. And much the same with what Elizabeth talked about, talking about that, we'll have some information we put out in our billing data as well on once you as a council have adopted that entire piece there. As Nick mentioned, they hit a gas line, but the positive note, we have mobilized. If you look at the lot for Addis Woods, you see that they moved a lot of the piping out there and started to work on that development. So I know they're wanting to move fairly quickly. Obviously not quite as quickly as probably today as it was, but they are moving quickly to start getting infrastructure in that, obviously to beat the weather and to make sure we can get streets and all the infrastructure in before it gets cold. On a really positive note, Mayor Stivers and I attended the KDOT local consult meeting here in Wichita up at WSU. And for the region, I'm excited to say that the Northwest Expressway was one of the top 2 expansion projects that were voted in favor of for the region. And that's a huge step. We have to stay on top of this, but as you know, the Northwest Expressway project's been in the works since the late 90s. And we feel strongly that we need to continue to push this project. We sat in this room probably 2 or 3 weeks ago with a group of supporters that saw the value in that project, that showed up to prioritize that project. And, some of the alliances and the things we've done to try to build that are critical, but we need to stay on top of that. We need to continue to work to make that project happen because it will make a difference in the continued economic vitality of Maize. So we'll keep working on that. Just a reminder, we do have our fall council workshop retreat here in this space on October 30th from 5:30 to a time to be determined, depending on how long we take. We'll try to be very protective of your time and get you in and out of here. But we got a number of things we want to talk to you about. So those will be critical. I'll say last week, myself, as Deputy Public Works Director and the Utilities Supervisor, we attended the Kansas Leadership Center, Your Leadership Edge program earlier in the year. We attended Everyone Leads. Very, very good program. I don't know if any of you had an opportunity to attend that, but it's something that I'd like to continue to see our leadership staff and our people that are aspiring to be leaders to attend, because what it really teaches are how basically you don't necessarily have to be in a spot of authority to lead. And it's about moving our employees forward to be able to be the future leaders, today's leaders and the future leaders of our organization. And so I hope that we'll be able to send some more people to that. It was very valuable training. We're starting to move forward with Gravity Works architecture on their progress on the shade structures, and we received our first bill on the sign at Academy and Maize Road. So they've started to work on that, and we're continuing to work on that. I will say we were successful. We reached out to the WAMPO Transportation Policy Board chairman about filling a vacancy on the Technical Advisory Committee of WAMPO with one of our employees, and Joe Desseberger was appointed to serve on that board, which will be in the role he's going to work on will be dealing as an advocate for rail freight, which is very important to us with our industrial park. But having somebody on that committee is critical. And as we look to both advocate for rail and freight throughout the community, but also our community individually, it's critical that we have people on all of those committees. As you're aware, and WAMPO distributes the money for transportation across the county and across the metropolitan area. And so having somebody on all of those boards is continually critical. I'll hit a little bit on economic development. You'll notice that I've kind of tried to change this, and this will improve as we go on. I'm trying to address what strategic plan items we're hitting with all of the work that we're doing. I want to continue this. I hope we can continue to improve this so you can kind of see that we're actually making good progress towards our strategic plan. On the economic development front, we continue to meet with a lot of potential developers and retail establishments. Obviously, we don't have anything solid we can announce today, but I can tell you there's a lot happening in the background. And, we'll continue to keep you up to date. And when we can announce some things, they'll be exciting to see, I think, the momentum that you'll continue to see here in Maize. To that note, we have been talking with one of our existing industrial providers about an expansion project. And we've in the process of trying to work out some of the details that hopefully you'll hear about soon, or a new industrial employer that will hopefully go into our industrial park. So we'll continue to work on that. Financial planning, I think you heard a little bit from Elizabeth to talk about that, but I'm very proud of the work that she's done. She's very dedicated to moving the city in the right direction as far as making sure we have the most efficient financial policies. And she's really taken that on her shoulder to work on policies and work on things that keep us fiscally strong going into the future. And so you'll see a lot of those pieces that are in that financial management budget section about how we can make sure we maximize the funds we've got and how we can continue to improve upon our financial status. We did hire Adam Anderkin. He'll be joining us in the wastewater as a water technician on October 20th, which I think puts us full staff in Public Works, which is a good thing. We went and celebrated, I went with the police department and we celebrated a graduation of one of our newest officers. And that was exciting to be able to celebrate with his family and welcome him to the city of Maize. And we had a really successful fall festival, which, I think it's something we can continue to build upon. We had really great weather, so you couldn't ask for much better weather. Let's hope that our Halloween coming up here on Saturday, and hopefully our Christmas event has just as good a weather. So we've been very fortunate this year, and I know that Tristan's put a lot of hard work into this, along with working with the Rec Commission. I think we've built a really good rapport working with them on some of these events, and so we'll continue to work on those. And the last thing I'll probably hit on, website. Website is officially launched. You guys will get to hear a little bit about that when we have our fall workshop. We're going to kind of walk you through there. I will say, it's up and going. We've basically copied the things we've got. It's still a work in progress. We still want to continue to improve it. The good news with the new website is that it will be much easier for us to update because it's more readily available to staff to take an active part in updating it before. And I'll give a lot of credit because we did have a great website that Detective Piper and Sarah Sarah from IT have kind of put together, and they've done a great job updating it, but hopefully with this new website, we'll have some interactive pieces that will bring us to the next level as far as our website. And then it'll also be much easier for us to update because you'll have everyone that will be capable of being able to go in and update that. So I think it'll be a good change for the future that gets us more aligned with with the way city websites are looking today. So you'll get to hear a little bit more about that. And then I'll kind of hit on the housing permit numbers that we have currently. As of 2025, we've issued 101 single-family homes permits, 41 duplex permits, and 11 commercial. So we've almost doubled up our commercial, and we're only 9 short of where we were in duplexes and are on single-family homes last year. And we're about, though I know we have a lot of duplexes in the works, to date, we're significantly below where we were last year in the total number of permits, which was 119. We're sitting at 41 duplexes currently for this year. Any questions you got for me on anything upcoming or on my report?
On the shade structures at the amphitheater, I was thinking when we had that discussion that design was supposed to be done by now. Is that, am I recalling that correctly?
I defer to Joe on that.
So right now, they're still preparing the bid documents. They're about ready to put it out to bid with the alternates. We should be seeing something probably towards the end of the year. I think they got a little bit behind, and we're okay with that because talking with Elizabeth, it's probably best that we do that project around February anyway. Just because that way we don't have 2 concurrent projects that's trying to run over the end of the year. We'll start this next one off with the new calendar year and the new capital improvement program. So you should be seeing something here, I would say probably 6 to 8 weeks.
The design is almost complete. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's everything we discussed when we talked about the alternates. All that's getting ready to go out for bid, and then they'll bring that back. And talking with the architect, they have found a local company that's probably going to save us a lot of money by stick building it versus having it made somewhere else and brought in. So they think they're going to be able to get it in quite a bit cheaper.
So building it'll probably be at the springtime.
Stick building it?
Huh?
Did you say stick building it?
As opposed to building it elsewhere, you're building it on.
Oh,
You're building it on site,
I thought you were
not
saying
pre-manufactured.
wood versus steel.
Well, since it's been on a snowy winter, it's probably better you do it in the spring, February, March.
That moves us, I guess, on to council member reports. Do we want to start? Kevin?
I don't have a whole lot to report. I was at that Community Foundation conference for 3 days, and I have a ton of information, but I thought I would probably just do a couple short presentations, maybe the first meeting of the month, a couple different times, kind of on the highlight stuff. So. That's it for me.
I don't have anything.
Alex? Nothing? Jeff?
Nothing.
David?
Just the mayor, Nick, and Elizabeth, we attend the LKM conference. Yes, some kind of interesting discussion at the conference. Keep a watch on that. Yeah, so that's the update. I want to comment on Nick's operation report. I'm really glad to see when you list those activities also linked to the strategic plan. Go 1, go 2. It's really the day when I sent you the message about the strategic plan, as I was thinking, since we have that plan, now it's really to think about our daily operation, how to link with that strategic plan. I think that's a very good step moving forward.
And you'll get to hear more on kind of where we've tried to set some expectations and deadlines that you'll get to hear a little bit more about when we meet at our fall retreat as well. So we've kind of assigned some of those responsibilities for updating those sections of the strategic plan. And you'll get to hear a little bit more about that coming up.
Thank you.
I just wanted to reiterate a thank you for all the hard work for Fall Festival. I know that's a lot of work put on the city employees as a whole to get it to go off without a hitch. So I appreciate it. And I don't think, since mayor's not here, we won't have the mayor's report. And if we don't have an executive session tonight, right? So then I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
To adjourn.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.